Elizabeth, a literary princess, and today I am doing my September TBR. I'm doing this a little early because I was just so excited as I was figuring out what I wanted to read and I wanted to share it with all of you. I am participating in 2 events for this month of September. First is Shorty September, and I forgot to look up the hosts. I'm so sorry. But the idea is to read short books, and I don't know if there's actually a strict regulation on what they consider short books, but I would say like under 250 pages is short to me. So I've chosen quite a few books for that. I'm also participating in Shaketember, which is reading Shakespeare in September, and that is hosted by Jason from Old Blues Chapter and Verse, Kelly from Books I'm Not Reading, and Nicole from A Day of Small Things. So luckily, the Shakespeare also works for Shorty September. And then I also have some at the end that aren't for Shorty September, but that I do want to read. So let's jump in. We'll start with the Shakespeare first, and usually I wouldn't hold this up, but I also didn't want to edit in 2 book covers for the 2 different plays. So here is my Norton anthology of Shakespeare, edited by Stephen Greenblatt and a few other people. It's very heavy. Anyway, I am going to be reading 2 plays that I have seen performed but that I have never read. The first is Twelfth Night and the second is The Winter's Tale. Now, I enjoyed seeing both of these. I saw Twelfth Night performed at my undergraduate by the theater department, and they set it in the 19th century Victorian, so the costumes were really fun, and they did a marvelous job. I've seen The Winter's Tale twice, once by the Shakespeare Club at the school I went to undergrad at, and that was not very good. And then I also saw it performed by the Globe in their Sam Wanamaker theater, which is an indoor theater, and that was marvelous. So I'm very excited to finally read both of these. It's been a while since I saw both of them, but I remember the basic plot points. And of course, we have to have a few dissertation reads in here, and I have managed to work all of them into Shorty September. The first is The Library Window by Margaret Oliphant. This is, I'm not sure if it's a novella or a short story, to be honest, and I'm honestly kind of hazy as to what constitutes a novella or rather than a short story. But this is one of Margaret Oliphant's supernatural tales, and it's supposed to be very good. I've heard a lot of people really enjoy it, so I'm excited for this. Next up is Weird Stories by Charlotte Rydell. This is a collection of ghost stories. Charlotte Rydell is probably the author I'm least familiar with out of the ones I'm working with, and probably the least researched one, scholarly in general. But her supernatural tales are supposed to be very good, and I'm excited to experience them. Next one is A Dog of Flanders by Ouida. So Ouida, in addition to writing adventure, romance, high society, and all of that novels, also wrote children's stories, and this is one of them. I don't know much about it other than it is about a boy and his dog, and that sounds like my type of deal. I'm just hoping the dog doesn't die. And the last of the dissertation reads is Millie Darrell by Mary Elizabeth Braddon. This is a novella. I have absolutely no idea what it's about. I'm assuming it's about a woman named Millie Darrell. I expect it will be sensation fiction in some form because that's what Braddon was most known for, but I do know she also did some other stuff, so I'm going in blind here. Yay! Next up, we have my George Eliot project read for September, and this is Silas Marner, which happens to fit in very well because it is about 150 pages. Yeah, 151 pages. I have read this before my first year of high school. So, over a decade ago. I was 14 and now I'm 30. Yikes. I remember thinking it was very slow and kind of boring, so we'll see how this goes. But God, it couldn't take me any longer to read than The Mill on the Floss has, right? No, The Mill on the Floss is still not finished as of making this video. Leave me alone. Anyway, September, Silas Marner. And then I just have some other possibilities for Shorty September. And the first one is The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. I have no excuse for not reading this short story. Like, everybody's read it but me. It's 19th century, a woman who has been diagnosed with depression and hysteria and forced to just stay in her room, and she's staring at the wallpaper and it makes her go insane. I don't know why I haven't read this yet, but I did put it on my 40 classics to read before 40 list, so let's just knock that one out immediately. If I read only one thing this whole month, I want it to be The Yellow Wallpaper. Next up is a book that was actually on my Jane Austen July TBR that I started but didn't get to finish and kind of got out of the mood for. This is The Wild Irish Girl. This was written in 1806 by Sydney Owenson, Lady Morgan, and it is focused on a man who has been exiled to his family's house in Ireland and his experience meeting a young woman there. This was lent to me by my friend Michaela, who is also in my program doing 19th century Brit Lit, and I should just, read it and get it back to her. It's short. With the explanatory notes, it's about 260 pages, so without them, it's about 250, so it just kind of qualifies for what I consider a short book. And then we have Stephen King's Different Seasons, and in this, there are two that I have not read yet. I have read The Body, which is the basis for the movie Stand By Me, and then The Breathing Method. And the two that I want to read now are Rita Hayworth and The Shawshank Redemption, which, yes, is the basis for the movie The Shawshank Redemption. And then Apt Pupil, which I think is about a boy that befriends a former Nazi or something. That's the impression I get. Anyway, I don't know if I'll get to both of these. I would at the very least like to get to Rita Hayworth and The Shawshank Redemption. I want to be able to say that I have read the entirety of Different Seasons. I have had this collection since I was 12. The Body has been one of my favorite books since I was 12, so let's actually finish the whole collection, Elizabeth. Now we are moving into the books that are not counting for Shorty September because they are longer than 250 pages. And the first one is my Fairy Tale Friday read for the month. This is Deathless by Catherine M. Valente. This is a retelling of the Russian fairy tale Koshchei the Deathless, or Maria Morevna, which is a tale that I am just starting to learn about. I read a retelling of it, I guess it was it last year that I read Little Foxes Took Up Matches? I guess it was, because I don't think it was this year. Anyway, I've also read in the Winter Night trilogy by Catherine Arden, The Girl in the Tower, which is the second book in the series, and that is also based on Koshchei the Deathless. So this is a fairy tale that I'm really just starting to learn about, and it's really fun. I have heard amazing things about Valente, and I'm so excited to get to this. This will have a video on my channel for Fairy Tale Friday, which I can say with confidence because I've been very good about getting the videos out as opposed to the blog posts. And then I have 3 dark academia books that I might read 1 or 2 of. I'm not sure. When I transition from summer to fall, I like to do it with dark academia. It's especially great for September because, of course, the school year is starting. I actually am starting back this week. I will have started back once you see this video. So the first book I have is The Lessons by Naomi Alderman. And I've had this on my Kindle for years and just never got to it. And it is set at Oxford. It sounds like it's about a group of students kind of around a professor. So, you know, very similar to The Secret History in setup. I'm excited to give it a go and, you know, finally have said that I've read it since it's been on my Kindle for a really long time. The second possibility is A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. I have this beautiful Owl Crate edition. Unfortunately, a faux leather thing got put on top of it and has like peeled off, and I can't get the residue off, but sad. Anyway, I don't even know if you can tell from behind the camera, but this is a young adult book. It's a fantasy set at a boarding school, and it involves witches. And it sounded fun. I generally feel like I prefer my dark academia to be not supernatural. With the exception, I guess I liked Babel, which was a fantasy as well. But generally, I just prefer non-fantastical elements in my dark academia. However, this sounded really fun, and Owl Crate was, you know, having a whole box around it, so I figured I would get it, and I should really get to reading it sometime. And then my final possibility, and the one that I really want to read, even though I've read it already, like multiple times, and I'm like, Elizabeth, read something new. This is The Secret History, the original dark academia. This is one of my absolute favorite books ever. I love it. I'm currently reading The Little Friend by Donna Tartt, and so it's making me want to reread The Secret History and The Goldfinch, to be honest, but I lent that to a friend, so want to read it. I'm like, Elizabeth, you don't have time to read books you've already read unless you're doing it for your dissertation. And then there's like another me in the back of my mind, like, but you want to. I'm probably gonna end up reading it. Also, like, it cannot count for Shorty September. This book is like 500 pages. Oh well. So, those are the books that I want to get to in September. Let me know down in the comments below. Have you read any of them? What did you think? What are you reading for September? Are you participating in either Shorty September or Shaketember or both? It has been great chatting with you. I will see you soon. Bye.